Yo, what is up guys, it is DMG here, and today we're going to be doing an instructions video on the 4-4-2. Now this is like a really stated formation. It's the formation you actually start out with in Ultimate Team. Like you get your starter team and it's in the 4-4-2. Now personally I didn't think I would like it that much, however I actually use the 4-4-2 in my Road to Glory account for one of my teams, and it's actually the better team between the two that I use. And honestly, the formation's actually not bad. After playing with it and trying to tinker it with it and get the instructions right, it's actually not that bad. So we're going to go into this real quick. And so center backs, stay back while attacking. And actually the entire defense is going to be just standard stuff. Stay back while attacking is what I normally do for the left and right backs. However, in this case, I think it's really important to have them on stay back while attacking, the left and right backs at least, because in the narrow formations, you could probably get away with the right and left backs unbalanced because they would be making overlapping runs and then no one would really be there, and you know, it wouldn't be that crowded pretty much. Whereas formations with the outside mids like Cerci and Bonaventura, there's the right and left mids, I would really want the left and right backs to stay back while attacking, because if the right and left backs made those overlapping runs, and let's say Cerci has the ball and Mariano made that overlapping run, if Cerci lost the ball, that entire flank would be completely vulnerable, and the guy could just cross it, cut in, just pass it off, easy goal, easy tap in, whatever. So, you know, in this formation, I'd really have them stay back while attacking, so it's not so crowded up there, pretty much. So it's just not so crowded, and also because of defensive stability. Now on to the midfield, and more specifically the center mids. I have them both on stay back while attacking and stay on the edge of the box for crosses. So I have them on stay back while attacking because if you don't, they're going to be pushing up, and then if they push up, you're going to be extremely vulnerable for the counterattack, and it's just going to be your entire defense. That's it. It's just going to be those four players in the defense. And, you know, if someone's going centrally, then the left and right backs are also going to be taken out, so it's just the two center backs defending that counterattack. You know, after playing a lot of FUT champions, that's all I've seen. It's just like defensive and counterattack. So I really don't want to be caught on the counter that like at all, because a lot of people are able to score that way. So I have them on stay back while attacking to prevent that. Now I have them also on stay on the edge of the box for crosses because, you know, eventually one of these two center mids will push up. Like they will not always stay back while be staying back while attacking. One of them will eventually push up, and when that happens, I want them on the edge of the box for crosses instead of in the box for the crosses, so then that way maybe they have a chance at getting back to prevent the counter, rather than there's no way they will prevent the counter. So pretty much the instructions that I have for these center mids is just to prevent counters. Stay back while attacking and stay on the edge of the box for crosses. So now for the left and right mids, I have them both on cut inside and get in behind. But the reason that I have them on cut inside is for a few reasons actually. I have them on cut inside because there is, you know, I want them to be able to kind of provide an outlet between the strikers and the center mids, basically, if that makes sense. If I have them just on, I think it's balanced width. Yeah, if I have them on balanced width, they are just going to be staying on that left mid spot, or they are just going to be staying at that right mid spot. They're just going to be on the touch lines near the out of bounds line. They're just going to be in that one spot. However, if I have them on cut inside, they're actually going to be getting inside, and for me that's good at least because I really like to be playing centrally. However, they are going to be out there enough to where if I need to pass it out for an outlet or something, they're going to be outside. So if I'm coming up against someone with a very narrow formation, I can pass outside to stretch the field horizontally. They also cut inside enough to the point where I'm really comfortable, you know, just playing centrally. I don't have to use the wings very often. I can just play centrally and play my game. Now I also have them on cut inside because the left and right backs, they're not always going to be staying back while attacking. They will eventually be making runs forward. So when that happens, I don't want the left and right mids areas to be very crowded. I don't want Bonaventura and DeCilio in the exact same spot. I don't want that, obviously. So, you know, I have them on cut inside to prevent that. Now, if DeCilio makes the run forward and Bonaventura loses it, yes, that entire side will be vulnerable. However, if you have them on cut inside, that'll at least spread out the field a little bit. Like DeCilio will be in the left mid spot and Bonaventura will kind of be near the middle somewhere. So it will make that space uncrowded, if that makes sense. It won't be as crowded, meaning there won't be as many people there, defenders included, and you'll at least have, you know, a chance to pass it off to someone instead of just two people not being able to get open, losing it, and then there's going to be all that space in the defense. Now the reason I have them on getting behind is because if I didn't, then there would obviously be a huge space between that midfield and the attackers. So if I had just had them on, I think it was balanced support. Yeah, if I have them on balanced support, then it's just going to be the two midfielders and the two strikers all alone. It's just going to be the two strikers all alone because these two center mids are going to be staying back while attacking, and then these outside mids won't be supporting the strikers that much. So it's pretty much to support the strikers, pretty much, because if I don't, then it's just going to be those two strikers, and that's not enough to score goals for an attack. That's just not enough, plain and simple. Now on to the strikers, and pretty much I have them both on stay central and getting behind. Pretty much. I just have them on that so it's able to stretch the field a little bit. And I've noticed that small guys that are really pacey and really good on the ball, they make those over the top through balls really devastating. So if Giovinco stay central, getting behind, you can lob through balls over to him, he's going to have a good touch because he's good at dribbling and he's really pacey. So he's going to be able to run through and score. However, saying that, me personally, I also like to have my smaller guys who are good at dribbling and can maneuver really well. I want them on the ball as much as possible. So having Giovinco as a target man, that's also a good option. So it pretty much just whatever your game is. If you want your small guy to be on the ball as much as possible, like me, then you can have him as a target man and stay central. However, if you like lobbing the over the top through balls, which is very effective, you can have him on getting behind. Now, if you do have one of your smaller guys on target man, I would still recommend the other striker on getting behind. That way it's still able to stretch the field a little bit. The defenders are going to have to respect that run being made, and if it's not, you can lob it over to that striker who can put it through on goal. So now onto the custom tactics. For the build-up play, I have the speed at 45 and the passing at 45. Now, the reason I have the speed at 45 is because this team is really good at countering. However, if you're going really fast and you try to counter, these center mids will push up. Even if you have them on stay back while attacking, they will still push up. And when that happens, that entire midfield is going to be gone because the left and right mids are also going to be pushing forward since they are on getting behind. So in this formation, it's probably better just to kind of be possession football instead of, just counterattacking. So 4-4-2, I'd recommend possession-wise. So that's why I have the speed at 45 instead of at my typical 65 or 70. And the passing, 45, just small passes. Like I said, it's supposed to be possession. So the passes kind of have to be smaller. So that's why I have it at 45. Now on to chance creation, I have this passing at 60, the crossing at 50, and the shooting at 65. Usually I have the crossing down a lot, but in this formation you have wingers, you have two strikers who could potentially be really good at heading the ball. So crossing, you will probably have some opportunities to do that. You will have that. So personally, I just don't like crossing pretty much. However, I realize in this formation, I will probably have to occasionally. It'll be open for me, and sometimes it's not going to be open in the middle, so I will have to pass it out wide and cross it in. So I realize that I will have to cross sometimes. That's why it's at 50 instead of my typical 30 or 35. Now on to the defense. I have the pressure at 45, aggression at 50, and team width at 45, and I also have it on cover. I usually have it on cover anyway, so that's pretty typical. However, usually I have my pressure and aggression really get like the 65 or 70 mark. However, like I said, in this formation, you really want it to be more about possession instead of counterattacking quick football, because you can't, while you actually probably can do that, and while it's actually decently effective, if you fail, you're going to get countered really hard. So, I have them sitting back a little bit, so then that way they don't try to go and counterattack that hard. They sit back, I get the ball, can pass my way out, and it's like I said, I try to be more possession in the 4-4-2, so that's why I have it on, low pressure, at least low pressure, low aggression for me. That's kind of low because usually I have it at 65 or 70. That's why I have it on low, just so then it's just supposed to be made for that possession type of football rather than counterattacking. So that is it for the player instructions and the custom tactics for the 4-4-2. If you guys have any questions on it, just let me know in the comments down below. And if you have any other formations you want me to see me do for the instructions and custom tactics, just let me know. I'll try to get that done for you guys. But like I said, that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been DMG. Peace. Okay.